Samson was an aggressive boy. He lived in the quiet town of Willow Creek, nestled beside a sprawling forest that whispered secrets to the wind. Unlike his friends, who dreamt of becoming astronauts or firefighters, Samson's dreams were filled with the boundless expanse of the sky. He'd spend hours watching birds soar effortlessly, their wings catching the sunlight, and imagine what it would be like to join them. One sunny afternoon, while playing in his backyard, Samson's dream began to materialize in the most unexpected way. He was chasing a bright red butterfly, its wings a vibrant splash of color against the green grass. As he leaped over a small fence, a strange sensation washed over him. It was as if a gentle hand was lifting him, pulling him upwards. He looked down and gasped. His feet were no longer touching the ground. He was floating. At first, panic seized him. He flailed his arms, his heart pounding like a drum in his chest. But as quickly as it came, the fear subsided, replaced by a sense of awe and wonder. He was flying! Hesitantly, he moved his arms, mimicking the motion of the birds he so admired. To his surprise, he began to glide forward, the wind rushing through his hair. He spent the rest of the afternoon exploring his newfound ability, soaring over his house, the trees, and the creek that snaked through Willow Creek. He laughed, he shouted, he felt utterly, completely free. It was the most exhilarating experience of his life. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Samson knew he had to return home. He landed gently in his backyard, his legs trembling with excitement and exhaustion. He couldn't wait to tell someone, anyone, about what had happened. But who would believe him? His parents, Sarah and Tom, were practical people. They believed in science and facts, not magic or miracles. His friends, Emily and Ben, might be more open-minded, but even they would find it hard to believe that their friend could suddenly fly. Samson decided to keep his ability a secret. For now, he knew he needed to understand it better, to learn how to control it, before he could share it with the world. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of secret training and careful exploration. Samson discovered that his ability to fly wasn't as simple as flapping his arms. It was more about a feeling, a connection with the air around him. He learned to control his altitude, his speed, and his direction, slowly transforming from a clumsy flailer into a graceful flyer. He spent hours in the forest, away from prying eyes, practicing among the tall trees. He'd weave through the branches, feeling the wind beneath his makeshift wings, the leaves rustling around him like applause. He discovered that he could hover like a hummingbird, swoop like an eagle, and glide like a hawk. One day, while practicing near a hidden clearing, he stumbled upon an old, abandoned cabin. Curiosity tugged at him, and he landed softly in front of it. The cabin was small and weathered, with a sagging roof and boarded-up windows. It looked like something out of a fairy tale. As he approached, he heard a faint sound coming from inside. It was a soft, melodic humming. Hesitantly, he pushed open the creaking door and stepped inside. The cabin was dimly lit, dust motes dancing in the faint light filtering through cracks in the walls. In the center of the room, sitting on a stool, was an old woman with long, silver hair and eyes that sparkled like the stars. She was the one humming, her voice filling the small space with a sense of peace and magic. "Welcome, Samson," she said, her voice gentle and kind. "I've been expecting you." Samson was stunned. How did she know his name? Who was she? "Don't be afraid, child," the old woman said, smiling. "My name is Alara. I know about your gift. I too was once like you." Samson's eyes widened. "You could fly?" Alara nodded. "Yes, many years ago. It's a rare gift, passed down through generations. But it's also a gift that needs to be nurtured and protected." Alara became Samson's mentor, teaching him not only how to control his flying, but also about the history of their gift and the responsibility that came with it. She told him stories of others who could fly, some who used their ability for good, and some who used it for selfish purposes. "Flying is not just about freedom, Samson," Alara said. "It's about choice. The choice to help others, to protect the innocent, to make a difference in the world." Samson took her words to heart. He knew that his ability was special, and he wanted to use it for good. Samson's first opportunity to use his gift came sooner than he expected. One afternoon, while flying near the forest, he heard a faint cry for help. It was coming from the direction of Willow Creek. He soared towards the town and saw a sight that made his heart sink. A fire had broken out in the old town hall, and people were trapped inside. The fire was spreading quickly, flames licking at the windows, smoke billowing into the sky. Without hesitation, Samson dove towards the building. He could hear the screams of the trapped people, their voices filled with fear and desperation. He knew he had to act fast. He flew to the window, his body aching from the heat. He saw a young girl, no older than himself, clinging to the windowsill, her face streaked with tears. He smashed the window with his foot, the glass shattering into a million pieces. "Grab my hand!" he shouted over the roar of the fire. The girl looked at him, her eyes wide with disbelief. But she didn't hesitate. She reached out and grabbed his hand, her small fingers clutching his tightly. Samson pulled her out of the window and gently carried her to the ground, where a crowd of people had gathered, watching in amazement. He flew back to the window and rescued several more people, one by one, carrying them to safety. Each time he emerged from the burning building, the crowd gasped and cheered. They had never seen anything like it. A boy, flying like an angel, saving them from the flames. But Samson didn't care about the attention. He was focused on the task at hand, on saving as many people as he could. He flew in and out of the burning building, his lungs burning, his eyes stinging from the smoke. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the last person was safe. Samson collapsed onto the ground, exhausted but exhilarated. He had done it. He had used his gift to help others. The people of Willow Creek hailed him as a hero. They had never seen such bravery, such selflessness. But for Samson, the greatest reward was the feeling of knowing that he had made a difference. News of Samson's heroic act spread like wildfire, reaching beyond the borders of Willow Creek. People from neighboring towns came to see the boy who could fly, to hear his story, to thank him for his courage. But with the attention came danger. There were those who saw Samson's ability not as a gift, but as a threat. They were afraid of what he could do, of the power he possessed. One day, a mysterious organization known as the Shadow Syndicate approached Samson. They were a group of people who believed that those with special abilities should be controlled, their powers harnessed for their own selfish gain. The Syndicate offered Samson a place among them, promising him wealth, power, and control. But Samson refused. He knew that his gift was meant to be used for good, not for evil. The Syndicate didn't take his refusal lightly. They saw him as a loose end, a threat to their plans. They vowed to capture him, to bring him under their control, by force if necessary. Samson knew that he was in danger. He couldn't stay in Willow Creek any longer. He had to leave, to find a place where he could be safe, where he could learn to control his powers even further. With a heavy heart, he said goodbye to his parents, to his friends, and to Alara. They were sad to see him go, but they understood. They knew that he had a greater destiny to fulfill. Alara gave him a small silver amulet before he left. "This will protect you, Samson," she said. "It will guide you on your journey. But remember, true strength comes from within." Samson embarked on a long and perilous journey, traveling across vast lands, encountering strange creatures, and meeting other people with special abilities. He learned from them, he grew stronger, he honed his skills. He discovered that he wasn't the only one who could fly. There were others like him, scattered across the world, each with their own unique abilities and their own stories to tell. He joined a secret society of flyers, a group of people dedicated to protecting the world from those who would use their powers for evil. They trained together, they fought together, they became a family. Samson became a skilled warrior, a master of the skies. He used his ability to help those in need, to fight for justice, to protect the innocent. He became a symbol of hope, a beacon of light in a world shrouded in darkness. The Shadow Syndicate grew stronger, their influence spreading across the globe. They captured more people with special abilities, forcing them to use their powers for their own sinister purposes. The Society of Flyers knew that they had to stop the Syndicate. They couldn't allow them to continue their reign of terror. They prepared for a final battle, a showdown that would determine the fate of the world. Samson was at the forefront of the battle, leading the charge against the Syndicate. He flew through the sky like a comet, his silver amulet glowing brightly, his heart filled with courage and determination. The battle was fierce and long. The Flyers fought bravely, but the Syndicate was powerful and ruthless. They used their captured abilities to create chaos and destruction. Samson faced the leader of the Syndicate, a man with the power to control shadows. The man was strong and cunning, but Samson was faster and more agile. They fought in the sky, a whirlwind of light and darkness, good and evil. In the end, Samson emerged victorious. He defeated the leader of the Syndicate, shattering his shadow powers, freeing the captured abilities. The Syndicate crumbled, their reign of terror finally over. The world was safe, thanks to the bravery of Samson and the Flyers. But Samson knew that his journey wasn't over. He would continue to fly, to protect, to inspire. He was the boy who could fly. And he would use his gift to make the world a better place, one flight at a time.